I just over New Year's launched the most successful retreat of my career. I had 40 people in Costa Rica leading a plant medicine ceremony with a group of mostly the people I work with are change makers, visionaries, entrepreneurs in the psychedelic space, who want to learn how to tap into these visionary states to create more of a purposeful life. And so while I was preparing for that retreat, I had come across, because I've created a really unique framework for working with psychedelics. It's the creative visionary bodhisattva, and I can talk more about that. But I started coming across some of what Brene Brown commented about her research. If you're familiar, she's really known for her work in resilience and shame and courage, and but she was on an episode with one of my other favorite authors, Elizabeth Gilbert, and they were talking about um, was sharing about how about 80% of all people have had experiences in childhood, especially from teachers who like planted in them a seed of a limiting belief. And of those 80%, about 50%, it was around creativity. And
Mm,
I've had a lot of blocks around creativity and feeling like I had a teacher tell me that I would never be creative because I couldn't draw. I'm still sort of horrified of drawing. And there's a cultural wide shift, a big narrative change around the importance of creativity, and it's happening so much now. And the more I pay attention to that conversation, the more I'm recognizing. There was a study by IBM where they interviewed 1,600 executive leaders and managers across, Fortune 500 companies and the full range. And now what a lot of different thought leaders, including Yuval Noah Harari, other thought leaders that are really commenting on this time that we're living in, specifically marked by exponential change, which is really hard to keep up with, that creativity and creative thinking and creative problem solving is the number one skill set we can learn to cultivate in the 21st century. And so that it was starting to come into the work that I was doing, and noticing that I had to shift my own narrative about what it means to be a creative person. And that, a lot of people have this narrative that there's creative people, and that's a very small portion of people, and then there's everyone else. And so yeah, it's been a real growth edge for me to think, okay, how do I start enhancing cognitive flexibility? How do I start learning more tools for creative problem solving? So I started doing so much reading on it, and reading books on the neuroscience of creativity, and looking at this similar neurological underpinnings, that in terms of what psychedelics and sacred plant medicine support. They support neuroplasticity, they support cognitive flexibility. And so I was starting to create a lot of dots, which is Steve Jobs' definition of creativity. Creativity is just connecting dots. And I've been microdosing for many years, and microdosing also helps with pattern recognition. So I've been doing a lot of mapping out conceptual frameworks for how people can be working with psychedelics, especially entrepreneurs and leaders who want to learn how to think more creatively, creative problem solving, cognitive flexibility. What does that look like? And then when the pandemic hit, I just thought, you know what? Uh, I'm not going to be running a retreat for at least another year or two, maybe longer. And so why not just go? And I found a few programs that specialized in creativity studies. So I'm getting a graduate master's degree. It's a master's degree in science, but the program is creativity studies and change leadership. So it really is focusing on creativity in the more of like the corporate space. And I'm choosing to focus all of my electives and all the papers I'm writing. It all focuses on the overlap between creativity and psychedelics.